What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to weigh in on this Marvel Spider-Man 2 news, and it's the back and forth of the voice capture and the motion capture. And I do mean back and forth because Yuri Lowenthal went in, I believe, like a 7-hour span. He changed his answer from everything's done to everything is not done. So I want to catch you guys up, talk about, in my opinion, I do believe it's normal. I don't think it's normal for him to flip-flop like this. I do think even if things are not done yet, I don't think that means the game is in any trouble. So I just want to say that kind of early on. So let's kind of recap what happened. There was a AMA on Reddit, and it was him. I mean, people are kind of going back and forth saying maybe it was a fake account or something. I mean, for what we know, that was him answering the questions, and he got two different questions from the same person, one of which said, "Have you finished doing voicing for Spider-Man 2?" And he said, "Yep, can't wait for you to play it." And then the same person again says, "Are you doing the motion capture for Spider-Man 2?" And then he says, "Yep, all done." Now, that second question, are you doing motion capture for Spider-Man 2? I think we actually already knew that, number one. But number two, I guess the question doesn't specifically say, have you finished? The first one said that. Did you finish the voice work? So that, I imagine, voice capture, right? When you go into the booth and you do all that stuff. Second question's about, stepping on stage, doing the acting, all that jazz. It's not asking about being done, but what's interesting is Yuri throws that in himself. Yup, all done. So he's saying himself that they're all finished with it. But then I believe 6 to 7 hours later, he was asked on Twitter, "Have you finished the motion capture / voicing for Spider-Man?" And he said, "No, we still have tons more to do." Now, there's a couple ways of reading this, and one way I'm actually now just seeing. It is possible, because have you finished the motion capture / voicing for Spider-Man? There's nowhere in there that explicitly says Spider-Man 2. Now, I would assume he would know that you're talking about Spider-Man 2, but at the same time, Yuri does a lot of projects, and he does Spider-Man for a lot of different things. And, yes, it's just a few hours after the AMA, in which I'm sure a lot of the questions were about Marvel's Spider-Man 2. But to be fair, this question on Twitter doesn't have Marvel in it, and it doesn't have even 2 in it, right? It's just Spider-Man. So it's very possible Yuri looks at this and he interprets it as, are you done playing Spider-Man? But you know what? I can honestly see how he could get there. I don't think it's maybe the first thing you would jump to, so there's still some argument, because the only other thing, right, is why did he flip-flop? Why 7 hours ago, when they said, did you do voicing, did you do motion capture, are you done with them? And he says yes to both of them. Again, for the motion capture, he inserts himself and he says yes, kind of unprompted, right, that he's all done. So you have that, and then just a few hours later, he says, no, there's still tons more to do. And the way tons is all capitalized, it's like, well, if he's thinking about it like, well, I'm Spider-Man going forward. Well, of course, there's going to be tons more to do in that way. Now, I guess stepping aside from that, I'm going to kind of leave it there. You guys can, let me know what you think in the comments, what's going on in this man's head. But I do just want to say, if we want to take it as he flip-flopped, or maybe he said something he wasn't supposed to say, or whatever, but if we want to assume that Spider-Man 2, Marvel's Spider-Man 2, is not yet done with motion capture and voicing, that's not, in my opinion, a concern. I don't know too much about the process, but it's certainly, from what I've seen, seems like you can be doing this stuff kind of right up until the game comes out. I mean, I think people are doing, and I'm pretty sure there's examples of this, people are at least in like the voice booth, right? Like the audio thing with the microphone in front of them. They can be doing that 3-4 weeks before the game comes out. Now, I guess when it goes gold, you have to imagine that, everything's done. So if the game goes gold, you're not going to have people, unless it's for like DLC down the line, but you're not going to have them come into, those are more like bug fixes, but I don't think that's like extra recording. So, I would say if you're in if the game comes out in September and they're still doing stuff in September, that's probably a bad sign, right? I think that's kind of pushing it up too close. But if they're doing stuff even until like July or sometime in August, I think that's normal. I don't know too much about the motion capture. I feel like the motion capture would be done first, because then you kind of patch it up with the voice stuff. You add kind of the grunts, right? When he's swinging, any of those kind of noises. You're probably going to do those afterwards. towards and closer to the game coming out. So that's why I just think motion capture, you're probably done in the next couple months. And then voice stuff, you could be doing that through August, right up until the game goes gold. And that's assuming the game comes out in September. The only reason I say it like that is just because Tony Todd basically said the game's coming out in September. So I'm going to kind of follow his lead on this one. So I don't think it's a big deal. So if people are like, well, if they're still doing voicing stuff right now, there's no way the game can come out in September. That's not true. That absolutely can still happen. But again, we'll see. Honestly, it's possible he is done with Spider-Man 2 completely. And then that second question, or the third question, I guess, on Twitter is just Spider-Man in general. It's got nothing to do with what he said earlier. You could look at it like that as well. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're all subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.